enjoyment is simply imagination. Therefore, considering this subject matter, I have ceased from all material activities and I am lying down here. So material enjoyment is simply imagination. And it says, in this way, the conditioned soul living within the body forgets his self-interest because he identifies himself with the body. Because the body is material, his natural tendency is to be attracted by the varieties of the material world. Thus, the living entity suffers the miseries of material existence. Just as a deer, because of ignorance, cannot see the water within a well covered by grass, but runs up after water elsewhere, the living entity covered by the material body does not see the happiness within himself, but runs after happiness in the material world. And then it says, the materialistic activities are always mixed with the three kinds of miserable conditions. And one is subjected to birth, old age, disease, and death because of respective activities. And then he comes to the point of how in this world people want to be rich and they want to accumulate wealth. So what's the problem over there? As he says, what he says. So the two things what Prabhupada mentions in the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, he says that the two main obstacles for a person who is trying to attain self-realization is, he says, money and women. The two things he says, and he says even stalwarts have retreated from the path because of temptations of these two powerful things. So he first reconciles in his own heart that how this is not going to bring happiness. No? This the whole business of men and women coming together and trying to have enjoyment doesn't make them happy. This is the first thing he has a great realization, and that's why he has given up all that affairs. And then second thing here now is coming to the point of telling even the money, doesn't make one happy. He says, I'm actually seeing how a rich man who is a victim of his senses is very greedy to accumulate wealth and therefore suffers from insomnia due to fear of from all sides despite his wealth and opulence. So he's giving the ill consequences of somebody who becomes greedy for wealth. How he doesn't actually find any happiness, rather he finds so much of suffering. And then he says, those who are materially powerful and rich are always full of anxieties because of governmental laws, thieves, rogues, enemies, family members, animals, birds, persons seeking charity, the inevitable time factor, even in their own life, such that invariably afraid. And then he says, those in human society who are intelligent should give up the original cause of lamentation, illusion, fear, anger, attachment, poverty, and unnecessary labor. And what is the original cause of all this? The desire for unnecessary prestige and money. And now he's saying that he is learning this lesson from B and Python, the two excellent spiritual masters. Do you remember? Does this remind you of any another great personality who was having many gurus? Now here he is describing two gurus, the B and Python. Do you remember? No, that is not Avanti Brahmana. That is Avadut Brahmana. It's another. The two different Brahmanas appear. The Avanti Brahmana comes later. Avadut Brahmana is there also. So Avadut Brahmana, he has 24 gurus. Like Pingala story and many things come there. So here he is. Now this saintly Brahmana is who met Prahlad Maharaj is another Brahmana. So the bee and Python are two excellent spiritual masters who give us exemplary instructions regarding how to be satisfied by collecting only a lecture and how to stay in one place and not move. And then he says, I do not endeavor to get anything, but I am satisfied with what is achieved in its own way. If I do not get anything, I am patient and unagitated like Python and lie down in this way for many days. So, but what the next verse says, one should learn detachment from the bumblebees, for they collect drops of honey here and there and keep it in the honeycomb. But then someone comes and by force takes all the honey away, leaving the bumblebees with nothing. Therefore, one should learn from the bumblebee not to keep more money than one needs. Similarly, one should learn from the python to stay in one place for many, many days without food and then eat only if something comes in its own way. So the learned Brahmana gave instructions gained from two creatures, namely the bumblebee and the python. So one thing we can see that as sadhaka, we can also learn from this teachings of Saint Brahmana that how he's actually trying to learn the lessons in his life. So when we actually want to really progress in our spiritual life, very sincerely we want to make advancement in Krishna consciousness. When we have that kind of anxiousness to make advancement, so then we can see that we become very eager to receive the instructions of the spiritual master. So as we become anxious and eager to make spiritual advancement, we become very eager to receive the instructions of the spiritual master, because in fourth canto, Prabhupada mentions one point that if somebody becomes very eager to execute the mission of spiritual master, or when he worships the instruction of the spiritual master, that becomes the cause of deliverance of that disciple. So if somebody is actually anxious to attain perfection, then he will take the words of the spiritual master very seriously. Correct? So, and as you take the instructions of the spiritual master and the wisdom what we receive, the transcendental knowledge which we receive, the disciple will find that everything in this world also is actually trying to teach him the same lesson, because he sees this world with the transcendental knowledge which he has received from his spiritual master, and he is further anxious to apply the instructions in his life. So Krishna is actually, the Krishna Vande Jagat Guru. He is the spiritual master, the original spiritual master of everyone, right? So when we align with the bona fide spiritual master, then we can see that in every aspect of this world, in every situation, in every incident, Krishna is actually trying to help to come closer to him. So that's how the whole world becomes Krishnamaya for a devotee. Everything is simply meant for him to make his journey back to Krishna. The whole cosmos is aligned. He will see his whole cosmos aligning for his deliverance. That's what he will see. Because it's only Krishna who is acting, can see. So when we take shelter of the spiritual master, then we can see that how Krishna is helping in every situation of life, in all aspects of life, for us to go closer to him. Something is going on. We can settle up, then we can discuss, because there are hardly 2-3 devotees. So then I no problem. So Krishna is teaching us in this incident also. So we should always be having that anxiousness. So that's how we can see. Then we can have many lessons. So then whole life becomes very adventurous, very wonderful, very thrilling, because as one is curious to know how Krishna is teaching me this particular lesson. Hare Krishna Prabhu. I think you can settle and we can start, because a lot of. Huh? I don't know. Whatever I found, I started.
Sorry, high-tech thing for something high-tech for
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare.
Very soft too.
Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Once everybody settles, then we will start. Because Prabhupada said sit and hear, he said. So I'll walk in the upper focus. So let us sit, then we can hear. Okay, very go. So I was saying that when we tune in with this desire that I want to attain Krishna very sincerely, then we see that whole every incident, what is happening is actually is nothing but the love of Krishna manifesting to us. And he's trying to help us to go closer to him. That's how we will have the vision in everything. And then we'll remain curious. Whatever happens, instead of being reactive, retaliating, being reactive, complaining, rather we'll be curious to know what is Krishna's message in this situation, in this incident, in the circumstances. That's why we'll be very curious. And then the life becomes very thrilling because you will see that how actually all that is nothing but help of Krishna for us to go further. And we can see this realization Avanti Brahmana gets in the 11th canto. Very beautifully, he explains there that actually Avanti Brahmana at one point of time had so much of wealth, so much. He was a big zamindar, and but his only problem was he was very miserly. He did not spare money for anything, even for his own, family members also. So he was that kind of miserly person. So even his own family members got fed up. By this kind of miserly person he is. And so he had been extremely greedy, miserly, and prone to anger. That was his situation. So, and he was a great agriculturist and merchant, but he was extremely greedy and miserly. So because of that, his all family members, servants, they were all deprived of every kind of enjoyment, and they gradually came to behave unaffectionately towards him. That means they gave up on him, and they became unkind to him eventually. So in due course of time, the thieves, family members, and providence took away the sum total of his wealth. So he lost all his wealth. And when he loses all his wealth, when he was completely abandoned by all his, nothing was there with him, and he was abandoned by everyone, then he developed a deep sense of renunciation, Avanti Brahmana. So how it happened? So he considered how this earning and preservation of wealth, it involved such great effort, fear, anxiety, and confusion. So, and he mentions that the 15 unwanted items are there in earning wealth. What are the problems? So he says the thievery, violence, lying, deception, lust, anger, pride, feverishness, disagreement, hatred, distrust, conflict, attachment to women, gambling, and intoxication. These are 15 items, he says, which is due to somebody wanting wealth. Then all these problems also come. You can see along with wealth. So that means if you are greedy for the wealth, then we are actually inviting all these troubles, all these problems. So when this meditation arose in his heart, the Brahmana could understand that the Supreme Lord Hari had somehow become satisfied with him. He felt that only because the Lord was pleased with him had the apparently unfavorable turn of events in his life occurred. So he is able to see, because Supreme Lord is very pleased with me, that's why this unfavorable turn of events are happening in my life. He is able to see Krishna in that situation, because Krishna is making all those people turn against me, and all this unfavorable turn of events which is happening. And he was grateful. He was grateful for that situation. That a sense of detachment had arisen in his heart, considering it the factual means for delivering his soul. So when we become aligned with this purpose, that I want to attain Krishna and I don't want to settle in this world, then you can get the right lessons also. So because he meditated on the Supreme Lord and he understood that there's some sense of detachment is coming, and all these events actually have helped him. All these events of life have helped him. That's how he could see that. Otherwise, it would have not been easy for him. As we mentioned the qualities before, he was greedy, angry, very positive, miserly. He was not ready to spend any money for anyone. So apparently very selfish, right? But you can see how now he's having that sense of detachment because of all those turns of events. And he could see that's the mercy of the God. And he was grateful for that. And in this condition, he determined to engage the duration of life in the worship of Lord Hari.
and thus accepted the mendicant order of Kirani sannyas. Then he takes sannyas. Subsequently, he would enter different villages to beg charity, but the people would harass and disturb him. But he simply tolerated all this. Remaining firm as a mountain, he remained fixed in his chosen spiritual practice and sang a song renowned as Bhakshu Gita. And then he gets a very strong, powerful realization. Anybody knows what realization? It's a very famous one. It's very profoundly there in Bhagavatam, but we face so many problems and we don't realize this point. I was just thinking about it, that how Bhagavatam message is so clear, so loud and clear. But problem is that we fail to apply them. We are not so philosophical, we are not so meditative on these principles many times. And then we face problems. The simple things only we face problems. In the relationships and some troubles come, some health issues come, anything comes, you become so disturbed like that. So here he's saying that the mortal person, the demigod, the soul, the ruling planets, the reactions of work, not time are the causes of one's happiness and distress. Rather, the mind alone is their cause. Because it is the mind that makes the spirit soul wander in this cycle of material life. So the real purpose of all charity, religiosity and so forth is to bring the mind under control. And then he says, that famous verse, Aham tarishyami duranta param tamo mukundam virishevayeva etam sa asthaya paratmanishtham adhyasitam puratamayr mahirshibhi Aham tarishyami duranta param tamo mukundam virishevayeva. He says, I will cross over this insurmountable question of material existence. How? By taking shelter from shelter of Lord Mukunda. And how? By following the footsteps of previous acharyas, previous personalities who have attained perfection. Following the footsteps of those who have already attained that perfection. Was following the footsteps, Mahadevani and Vikas. So he was so determined that you can see. So only when one can focus his intelligence on the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord, can the mind be completely subdued. And this is the essence of all practical prescriptions for spiritual advancement. So turning to Krishna is the only objective of a sadhaka in all situations of life. Turning to Krishna. If you see Bhagavad Gita on the back cover page, where they have quoted Mahatma Gandhi's opinions on this. He says that whenever the doubts haunt me, when disappointment comes, then I turn to Bhagavad Gita. It's nice the way things are written. So I like that. So basically, turning to the Lord is actually becomes a turning point in our life, to make spiritual progress like that. And that is the essence of life. Because ultimately, the root cause of our problem is we turn against Krishna. Krishna bhuliya jiva bhagavan chakare nikatasthamadre patiyate. So because of we have become forgetful of Krishna, we have turned against Krishna. That's why we find ourselves in this miserable materials. Right? So the whole program, what Lord wants from the jiva is to return again back to him. That Upanishad says, two birds. So that another bird is just only waiting when this fellow will turn towards me, and then he's ready to give all facility for him to come back. So this turning to Krishna is that that flip switch is what jiva has to do, turning to Krishna. And when this turn to Krishna happens from the jiva side, then he can see Krishna's hand. How those situations are nothing but Krishna's facilitation only for him to come to their end, like that. So in every situation of life, one can observe there are disturbances going on, but one can be aloof to see that Kunti Mani is mentioned that one should not be disturbed by the disturbances. So he won't get disturbed by those disturbances. Rather, he will be able to see those disturbances as a loving call of the Lord for me to take his more and more shelter. Like that you can see. So he will become more and more determined in his devotional service. That way. Yesterday Rasha was mentioning very nicely, saying that when you are in the ocean, so this whole material world is compared to ocean, right? Especially Kali Yuga, this ocean of what? Kalera dosha nidhe rajan. asti eka mahan guna. Kirtanadeva Krishnasya mukta sangha param rache. So saying this whole ocean of negativities are there around. And if you're in a boat, this we have got this human form of life, and and we can utilize this human body, which is compared to boat, in crossing over this ocean of material existence, this ocean of negativity, what we find in this world. So you're saying, but if we allow that water, which is compared to ocean of faults or ocean of negativities, to creep in the boat, then the boat sinks. But the same ocean water can actually help the boat to sail through and reach the other bank, the other side of the ocean. Okay? Same ocean water can help us. So yes, even though Kali is filled with faults, but or so much of negativities, but if we remain in the boat and we don't allow that negativity to come in, those negativities of Kali to come in, rather we take shelter of the Lord. We take shelter of the Lord. Then what happens? Then actually those apparent negativities, the faults of Kali can actually become a platform for us to take deeper shelter of Krishna. They may facilitate us. There are many, you can see in Srimad Bhagavatam also, there are so many devotees. They came to Krishna very firmly when they got some apparent negative situation, some crisis. Correct? But good thing was that, auspicious thing was that they all turned towards Krishna in those situations. That is glorified. Crisis comes in everyone's life. There's nobody who will not face crisis. But what makes the difference is the great souls, the devotees, those sincere souls, they will turn towards Krishna. Like Gajendra got such great crisis. The crocodile caught his feet. So much crisis. But then he took shelter of the Lord. And then you see his life became auspicious, getting perfection. Then Prahlad had crisis. His father himself was, though he is supposed to be protected, but he is himself is trying to kill. Protector is trying to kill. What kind of crisis? And he's a tender child, just 5 years old. And the whole, and the teacher should lead him towards the right path, and the teachers are misleading. And all the friends are demoniac. So in that kind of negativities, actually Prahlad just took one shelter of Krishna. And he perfected it, you can see. Same way the curse of Shringi, Parikshit Maharaj got such negative situation. He got tussled with that Shringi. Of course, he did not meet Shringi, but he apparently put a dead snake on the Samyak Rishi, and which apparently, not apparently, that made Shringi, his son, upset, and then he cursed him. So now he could have continued the tussle with him, like, he could have retaliated, he would counter curse, so many things he would have done. He had the power also, he mentioned that Parikshit Maharaj had power to counteract. And he would have also harmed him, understanding what the small thing his fellow is cursing. But Parikshit Maharaj has simply turned towards Krishna. That's what he did. So here also you find Avanti Brahmana. People are mistreating him like anything. All of them are mistreating, and he was completely in that kind of negativities. Amongst all that negativities, he turned towards Krishna. You can see that. So this is a constant theme in Srimad Bhagavatam. You find that Pandavas, they are surrounded by all the evil-minded Kauravas, trying to usurp their properties, trying to kill them. But they always turn towards Krishna. Kunti Mani and Pandava, they always turn towards Krishna. You see Draupadi also, and she had such kind of great crisis. She just turned to Krishna. Hey Madhava, hey Govinda, turned towards Krishna. So this is what all the Bhagavatam characters are teaching us, all the personalities are teaching us, that turning towards Krishna is the essence. And Kunti Maharani is so much understanding this point that he says, let those calamities come, let those negativities come more and more in mind. Because that way, I tend to turn towards Krishna more deeply, more, which is very difficult prayer for any ordinary sadhaka to offer. But anyway, the life is filled with many crises and negativities and reversals will anyway come. In everyone's life, it is going to happen. So if we keep that goal in mind, then I am here to turn towards Krishna, and I am here to attain my love for the Lord. If I am fixed in that purpose, then instead of taking the negativity in and drowning ourselves, getting drowned in ourselves, in those negativities and being miserable in this world. Instead of that, we rather use that as a trigger to take function. And those the apparent negativities will actually become platform for us to take deeper shelter of Krishna. So what point I was saying is that we can see how Krishna is teaching us in every lesson. I mean, every situation. Then, in every situation. And the lesson is to take his shelter. To take his shelter more and more. And then we can be amazed to see that how actually those situations have helped us. Because ordinarily, to work on our heart, to get free from certain attachments and conditions have been difficult. But because of certain situations and circumstances, we get so much of homework to do. So much of work can be done then on ourselves. It becomes easy for us. Otherwise, difficult. Like even in examination also, if everything is very easy, teacher is giving marks, no exam, nothing, the student may not grow also. The tough questions come, then many times that time the child becomes more aware of, oh, what is this? I'm not going to solve only. And then he seeks more shelter of his teacher and the books, and then he becomes more aware of the deeper concepts also. So here we can see that how he is able to learn lesson from B and Python, the two excellent spiritual masters who give us exemplary instructions regarding how to be satisfied by collecting only little and how to stay in one place, not move. So we will find so many gurus, we will find so many lessons actually, if we have this kind of orientation. Everything will teach us so many things. We can just keep writing what I learned from different situations. We can start writing journals and we'll write so many things. We can write what so many things are teaching me like that. So we can think like that. I'm a student, and this whole universe is a teacher, and Krishna is the teacher. Through this entire universe is teaching me. And as we align with our spiritual master and we receive the knowledge properly, then it becomes easy for us to learn the lessons, which Krishna is teaching us to every situation of our life, like that. So another thing we can see here that, especially in this section, so much of trouble what person gets with money and how this kind of attachment to wealth should be given up is actually the message. Because it is said that money, it gives trouble at every stage of life. In all stages of life, money always gives trouble. So for earning also, so much of trouble is there. Right? You have to so much struggle hard. People study so much from childhood to they become adult 25 and they are into medical line, then 30, 35, 40, we keep studying PhD. So much of hard work, so much of struggle, so much of competition, sleeplessness and anxiety and depression, and there are people who commit suicide also because of academic pressure and all that. So much. I was thinking maybe MIT and big institute, they will not have the suicide, I was thinking. Maybe because they are already gone to MIT. But then I asked devotees and I found some ChatGPT. I asked, but I found there also people having depressions and they are also committing suicide. So everyone, practically speaking. So much of hard endeavor, to just earn the money. So much of trouble. So much of hard labor is there. And when you have it, then you become proud. You become so much proud and you become attached to it. And then also so much trouble happens. Like Indra, he became proud of his opulence. And then what happened? Because of that, intoxication, because of money, when his guru Brahaspati came, he couldn't offer obeisance. He did not offer proper respect. So it can lead to pride when you have it also. Become blinded, you become dhanand, because of money, become intoxicated, and then we may often happens like that. So Indra lost everything then. Because he did offense to his guru only. So when you have it, then you become proud, you become attached, that's the problem. And then you want to protect it. So while protecting, why you want to protect? Because you have so much of fear of loss, if I lose it. Because sometimes some people, they have a lot of money and then they lose money, they become depressed so much. So I heard that once one person, he lost so much of money that because he was dealing with stock market, so he lost. And then because he became, overnight or maybe in few days only, he became like from upper class to middle class. He became so much disturbed that he couldn't take it, and he killed all his family members and himself also. He couldn't take it, and he says, our Prabhupada says in one lecture that there was some Siddhas, somebody. So he was he gave up, he gave up all his home and money and everything, but it was kind of not naturally. He just gave it forcefully, and he said later he couldn't take it and he died very early because he actually was very attached, but he superficially he gave it up, and he died because of giving up that way. So there is so much of fear of losing also because people cannot handle it. They cannot take it if they lose it. They cannot afford to lose once they have it there. So there was so much of fear is there. And so much of anxiety, so much of fear, and let me not lose it. And then when you spend also, then there is so much of regret because the money is spent in so many ways, and then you may also regret why I spent here, why I spent there. And also when you spend also, you commit so much of activities, sinful activities, which bears so much of reaction also, so much of suffering also comes that way. So actually, you see the whole affair of this, trying to accumulate money, trying to get money, or when money becomes the center of our life, it only brings enormous suffering on you, like that. So people just completely get enamored by the attraction of money. That's why money is better than money, like that. So why generally people become so much obsessed with desire to get money? Why they become so obsessed? So one thing what generally comes in the mind of people is they think that, oh, how will I be maintained if I don't get money? What about my maintenance? But Krishna says that actually if anybody has to live in this world, so there's enough in this world. It's not economic problem. Economic development is actually simply this kind of endeavor for economic development is simply futile. It's illusion. There is no problem actually. Everything is there by the grace of the Lord for everyone's need in this world. So there is no problem of maintenance. Every species is maintained. Srila Prabhupada will say, ant is maintained, elephant is maintained, everybody is maintained. So because only when we become very sinful, we become disobedient child of God, then only we face all these troubles. But actually, anybody can be easily maintained in this world. And it's what is because somebody is trying to follow path of dharma, somebody is trying to be good child of Krishna. Krishna says, Ananyashchintayantama, idara paripasate, deshantavyaktanam, yogakshama maham. Krishna saying somebody is trying to remember him and trying to come back to me. He is engaging in another devotional service to me, then he protects. He actually carries what he has and he provides what he lacks. So everything Krishna provides. So we don't have to worry about our maintenance. Avashya Rakshibhe Krishna Vishwasapana. Goptatya Varnam, that is another thing. Goptatya Varnam. Krishna is the maintainer. He will maintain you. There is also aspect of surrender. So as devotee, we should know that actually it's not money is going to be maintained. It's Krishna maintains you. So that understanding should be there. Money may be there, may not be there, but I will maintain. Because my maintenance is not Krishna. So the source of my income is not the source of my maintenance. The source of our income is not source of our maintenance. Our maintenance is the Krishna. Eko Bhavanam Yog Dhati Kamam. So Krishna only maintains. That understanding should be there. Krishna maintains brahmacharis and sannyasis. They don't have any money. And for grihasthas, who maintains? Money. Correct? Their job. Who maintains for grihasthas? Krishna only maintains. Then if somebody becomes so obsessed with this thought, oh, but I have to get so much money because I want to maintain my economy, and he gets that anxiety. So somewhere he is not understanding the point then. So for Grihasthas also Krishna only is the maintained. But as Brahmachari, Grihastha, Vanapata, Sannyas, everybody is maintained by Krishna only. Like that. And then somebody will think, oh, okay, I can be maintained, but what about my, so much of happiness which I want to get, my objects of senses, so many sense objects I need to get, So what about that? So the point is, again, Bhagavatam says that you cannot get happiness and distress, apart from your quota. The quota is already set aside for us. If you want to get some extra happiness by accumulating more money, not just maintenance, you want some happiness now. Prabhu, maintenance, everybody is maintained. My mother would say sometimes, right? Dog is also maintained, everything is maintained. But we should have proper life. It's not about just maintenance. so people think that, okay, I will get an extra objects of some gratification so that I can be more happy. Correct? But Bhagavatam says, what is that verse? Tasyeva heto pratyata kovido. That verse says that how is everything is fixed. The quantum of happiness and distress is fixed. We don't go to the Lord to pray for distress, but distress comes anyway. The same way happiness also will come on its way. So whatever objects of the sense objects of whatever happiness or distress is to come, the object of happiness, the sense object which may bring happiness, the sense object which may bring distress also. Both are fixed. You cannot change much. So that is one should understand. One should not chase after material happiness through money, trying to get more and more money like that. And then somebody says, no, it's not about just happiness and sense objects. Okay, but we need. My needs should be fulfilled. My needs should be fulfilled. See, our need is fulfilled. But the problem is there is a subtle line between need and greed. So what happens is, there is greed, which is really a great problem. As Krishna says, lust, anger, and greed, the three great gateways of hell. So conditions of we struggle with greed also. So many times, the greed actually talks to us, taking the form of need. Oh, I need this. Just say one should be guided by gurus. One should be guided by seniors. Sometimes we justify. I need this. I need that. Like sometimes somebody will say, "Oh, I really need that much," because then only I can serve Krishna nicely. But it could be some greed, which is coming in. So we have to be very careful. Is it really a need or greed? First, let us discuss on that point. Is it really needed or is it simply a greed of ours? In Bali Maharaj section also you find that, when Vamandev came and asked for 3 steps of plan, Bali Maharaj said that 3 steps of plan. I can give you entire universe. You can just take it. They said, no. Actually, if somebody is not satisfied with 3 steps of plan, he will not be satisfied with entire universe also. Because satisfaction doesn't come in getting. It actually, the content satisfaction doesn't come by the external accumulation. If you're having content, then you can be satisfied with very little also. Like that. So that's how, so more we become Krishna conscious and we are satisfied in Krishna consciousness, greed goes away. Then our needs also become less. Correct, no? So, but when greed takes prominence, then needs also increase. What we think as need. What we think as need also is more than which we think that is needed. So at least bottom line could be that we are guided by some seniors, so that we don't go astray. Too much sidetracked in just trying to accumulate money, justifying that I need it that way. And then ultimately the whole problem is that the living is trying to enjoy in this world. So that's why he thinks that the money is the medium by which I can enjoy. I can own, I can control, I can enjoy. This is what is the whole point. So the plan, so enjoy, and then having, the divinity has its own plan, your own plan, your own program of this material life to enjoy. So we have come here in this world being independent of the Lord, right? We want to enjoy independent of the Lord. So whole endeavor is to enjoy having your own program. Your own program means that I want to be Lord of this world. I want to be the enjoyer, and that's how I live my life. So, because money gives that kind of sense of independence, I can live my life. I have my ways to get bread and better. I have my ways to protect myself. I have my ways to have everything what I need to be happy. That's what money makes the person feels like that. Money gives him that kind of feeling and that kind of assurance. So I was trying to make that money. So we think of maintenance, but I told that Krishna will maintain. And then we think, no, but I need my objects of senses, sense objects, happiness and distress. But it's also fixed. Money. The need or greed, we have to be careful. Is it need or is it greed? And then the E part is enjoy. You want to enjoy. You have the enjoyership you want to have. How you want to enjoy? So why? That is your own program. That is not Krishna's program. So when we understand that I'm not here to enjoy, but I'm here to serve. So when you have that mentality, and I don't have so the person doesn't have his own program, not your own program, but Krishna's program. So what is Krishna's program? Krishna's program is that we all work together in his service and attain love for him and go back to Krishna. So then a living entity who has that understanding, then will use everything in Krishna's service. Then even if money comes, also will use it in Krishna's service. Correct, no? The money comes, also will use it in Krishna's service. So that money will not be entangling. But otherwise, money will simply bring so much of enormous suffering on you, like that. And we can see in Bhagavatam also, there are many examples where people have everything, but they are not satisfied. They are miserable. So one example is of Chitraketu Maharaj also. Chitraketu Maharaj had everything. He had, he married one wife, and second wife, and third wife. So many wives he got married. 1 crore wives. And so much opulence he must be having, that he could maintain so many wives also. Correct? It's like, I don't know, 1 crore is too much. Big. And they're also maintaining all of them and in a kingly way, in a royal way. A lot of opulences he must be having. Chitraketu Maharaj had everything. But he was miserable. Why? Because he did not have son like that. So this is the nature of this material world. You have everything, so much of money and everything, but still you won't satisfy. There will always be something which will create trouble. So because the nature of desire is there's unlimited desires. Material desires, they cannot have any limit. So there always be some unfulfilled desire, even then also. So even though he had so much of money, but he couldn't get the desire to get a son. How helpless one becomes. He could have, so money gives that feeling that I can just do anything, but he couldn't get a son like that. And same way, sometimes people have so much of money, but then he cannot save their life also. We can say, doctor, take all my money. Doctor say, I can take all money, but I cannot save you. First part I can do, but I can't save you because it's not in my hand. There are people like that, correct? They get some terminal cancer and they die with all money. Money is there. They say money is there, but we don't have medicine for it. What can we do? So they're helpless. So Chitraketu Maharaj is a classic example that actually money doesn't give any security. No security comes actually. So instead of working for this material wealth, one should actually become ready for spiritual wealth. This is the teaching of Bhagavatam. Bhagavatam is giving so many examples of everything. Like if you see from Yayati Maharaj and Devayani there, so much got into this man-woman affair. Urvashi and Purava. So much. But in then also dissatisfied, not happy. Extreme. And then wealth also, so much wealth is there, Chitraketu Maharaj, not happy. Kunal Kura, Manigra, so much of wealth was there. They're trying to be happy, but they got into trouble. They got curse and got trouble. You can see. Hiranyakashipu, Ravana, they got so much of wealth, still they are completely anxiety and troubles. They were destroyed. So you can see that. So instead of, so Bhagavatam is saying this because the attempt of accumulating money and this wealth, material wealth, is actually going to bring misery only and it's futile. There's no real gain. And Bhagavatam is saying then what we should endeavor, the same verse, no? He says, what one doesn't get in this world, roaming all over the world, that is Krishna Prema. So that we should endeavor for. So instead of material wealth, one should endeavor for spiritual wealth. And spiritual wealth is Krishna Prema. That means the Krishna consciousness is the real wealth. Golokera Prema Dhana, Harinama Sankirtana. Krishna Prema Vina, Daridra Jivan. Krishna Prema Dhana Vina. Krishna Prema Dhana Vina, Daridra Jivan. So our life is of poverty if we don't have Krishna Prema. And that wealth we should be greedy for. In fact, Goswami Pad says that the only way to attain this wealth of Krishna Prema is to be very greedy. So we have to become greedy more than what we want to have in this world, much more than that, to attain Krishna Prema. Because that is eternal wealth. And that is fulfilling, that is satisfying. So instead of chasing after the material wealth, one should chase after Krishna. And that way one can be happy. And the course of trying to attain Krishna Prema Dhana, whatever we have this Dhana in this world, Manas Devu Jo Kuch Mora, we can utilize that as well in our greed to attain Krishna. We can utilize that money and everything in Krishna's service. Correct? No? And that way, the whole goal should be spiritual wealth. And then we don't mind if money comes. We are not against money. If money comes, we take it. And we invest that money in attaining our real purpose, that is Krishna Prema. We can invest that money for that purpose. Then money can be two. So money can be used in service of the Lord, in worshipping the Lord, in serving the devotees. We can do that. We are not against money. Prabhupada, when Swami was saying, I don't touch money. Prabhupada said, you take my photo with all money. Prabhupada is not against money. But when we think money as the goal and the way we can be secured in our life and then we can be happy in our life, that's a problem. So we can use the money as a tool to serve Krishna. That's fine. So Prabhupada says in one purport, a devotee getting opulences and a non-devotee getting opulences is completely different. When a devotee gets opulences, it is the Lord's mercy so that he can serve the Lord more and more. But a devotee is not greedy for that opulences. A Lord only from his side may give. And devotee is happy to serve in any situation. Whether his situation is like a Kolavasa Sridhar, or he may be like Amrish Maharaj, having so much opulence. But he is simply interested to serve, and Lord is also equally pleased with all kinds of devotees. But sometimes some devotees, Lord may give opulences, which is his mercy, that won't entangle him. So the whole point is that we should be only ready for spiritual wealth. And goal should be very clearly known that goal is not anything in this world, but only Krishna. And then whatever we get our way should be used in Krishna's service. Then only we can be happy. So we'll pause here for 9:15. Any comments or reflection question? Yes,
I heard that story a long time ago. The one about somebody showed Prabhupada a picture of a yogi, and there was some money in front of one of his picture taken like this. And Prabhupada said he could take a picture of me.
Yeah. I told this just now.
I know, but is that the way you heard that story? I'm not sure.
Something like that, yes.
Something.
It was, I think it was a newspaper or something. And then it was like that, and disciples showed his very great, renounced personality. Prabhupada said, wait, take my photo like this.
I always heard that, but I wasn't sure if it was a bona fide story or not.
Right, yes. Maybe the way we tell it, maybe a little different. Somebody will say yogi, somebody will say something. so on. But yeah, that incident is there. Any other reflection or income?
No, from my experience, people have to work really hard.
Yeah. Huh? It makes men crazy.
May,
Oh,
no,
you are crazy for Krishna.
yeah, right.
Role model. How to be always Krishna conscious. Yes, ma'am.
Thinking something good, it's something very good with this song. So thinking, as you mentioned, that we should be fully dependent on Krishna, we should not fight for these things. And then that will not help feel happiness because it's important. And so, because like, Krishna is there for everybody. Every part of the society is things that want to take care. So, like I was thinking, like, we should work in a way that like, fully focus on sort of like, sort of as an independent, but a conscious should be like, fully dependent. Means we cannot, as a, when you're working for something, you should be able to like, give full to the work and like, not just basically like, fully work in a full focus way, like give full, but when it comes to conscious, we conscious to be dependent. Is the right combination or it is?
Consciousness matters. That's what I understand. It's not about somebody, some say Grasta is working, is going to be doing business or working. The Bhaktivinoda Thakur also was working. But consciousness matters. That's what I understand. Because he doesn't have that goal as money. And he doesn't feel that ownership that I own this money. So that's why the whole thing is about consciousness. Bhagavatam is not talking about the external situation of earning money or being a king. Because there are many great devotees who are kings. Amrish Maharaj is a great king. He's having his own organizations. And many times they're very responsible also. They'll be responsibly doing all their job and occupation. But the consciousness is different. Consciousness is not that they're, as we explained, thinking that this is going to maintain me, that this is going to bring me happiness, thinking this is where I will enjoy. So those things are not.
It's something that's passionate about. Goodness, I don't think, I'm personally like, we don't do it, but one has to that passion about something for the next achieving.
Yeah, so the driving force is pleasing Krishna. No? So when we, so Arjuna also was fighting so much. No? It looks very passionately, but it was not passion actually, truly speaking. It was not just passion, it was actually his full surrender to Krishna. So we get our, certain occupation, certain engagement, but we don't see that as something which we have to get it, we have to do it for our own self. That is what Krishna is teaching now, Gita. That we don't work for ourselves, we work for Krishna. So that is the highest cause, and that way you can be very vigorous in your work. Devotee can be the, best way he can do. Like Bhaktivinoda Thakur was so expert in his job, very expert. He was very focused. Like that. But he knew why he is doing what he is doing. That should be very clear. But that's why when goal becomes hazy, then our mind acts crazy. Then we start thinking, well, this will bring me happiness, this will protect me, and all that. So that's why the hearing, reading is very important. Chanting, our spiritual sadhana is very important because that gives us a consciousness. That's right. And with that highest cause, then feel very responsible. It's not just passion, it's not mode of passion. It's actually by dint of Krishna consciousness we are working with. And it is very liberating also. You feel very satisfied. Even though you are doing whatever case, you feel very satisfied. You're working hard for Krishna. When we would go for work, that time when before joining, then our seniors would say that you are working for Krishna only. Just it's apparent just some details. You're going, teaching physics and getting some money, but we're just waiting when we want to join. It is simply, just some external drama we are doing. So the whole thing is that I want to offer myself to Krishna. The whole attempt of studying that, I put 3 4 books and study, and as study, formula, this and that, and I teach for 3 hours, 5 hours, 6 hours. I teach. But then I knew that this is not my goal. I have to do it because my superiors want me to do it right now. I do it. That's why Prabhupada says that I should do it in renounced spirit, and use it for Krishna service. In whatever situation you are in, whatever non-ashram situation you are in. Because that's not the goal that we have to know. So that's why working in enlightened consciousness is important. People in this world talk that we need passion to work. We don't depend on that passion. We don't want that. We want the highest cause. That's why we feel the need of being proper Krishna. That's why we feel the need of properly chanting our rounds and reading proper books. Because then only we can get that consciousness. Otherwise, it's difficult having association with devotees. Correct? No? So then you're not passionate, but rather you are very dutiful in Krishna service. Responsible. You take responsibility, not become passionate. That's some understanding. I'm not saying that we may be ideal, but at least this is what I think we should aspire for. This kind of ideas we should aspire for. Whatever we're trying to do. But there's the ideal thing that I'm talking about. Radhesham says that Arjuna was not fighting because of, he's Kshatriya, he has the propensity to fight. All these reasons he was not, for that reason he was fighting. He was fighting because Krishna wanted to fight. For that reason he fought. That was Sarvadharman Prityajya reason. Though many people talk other things, and Krishna was giving other reasons before to Arjuna. You are Kshatriya, you can. But ultimately Arjuna fought because Krishna wanted him to fight. That's why he fought. That was the number one reason. So that was completely Krishna consciousness. Even though we have some propensity, but engaging, you should know that I'm doing it for Krishna. And we are doing it because we are guided by experience. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Bhagavan karne ki jai. Yeah.